guys, welcome to today's video. This video I'm going to be talking about my brush collection. I've had a majority of these brushes since freshman year of high school probably, so total like 4 years considering I'm a freshman in college now. Some of them might be from middle school, but I'm not sure which ones. Majority of my brush collection is from Real Techniques and e.l.f. But I do have like a couple miscellaneous ones from stores I don't know about because I got them through Ipsy because I had a subscription with them for a little bit. But yeah, let's just get right into the video. I newly cleaned them, so they're actually clean and presentable, I guess. So the first one is the Real Techniques 204. This is the buffing brush. I use this for a foundation, and if I have a large surface on my face to cover in terms of like concealers and stuff, I'll also use this. This is a very nice brush. All the Real Techniques brushes are very nice. They're just very fluffy, and this is not as dense as like say like a kabuki brush, but it is dense enough to really blend in my foundation. It doesn't really leave streaks, but when it does, it like I don't really care about streaks because you can just easily pat them away. And now for my concealer brush, this is the Real Techniques 300, which is the Deluxe Crease brush. This is actually for your eyes, like for eyeshadows and stuff like that, but I don't need this dense of an eyeshadow brush, so I decided why not use it for concealer. I use this mainly to blend out like my concealers on my cheeks, because for my under eyes I like to pack it in with my fingers and stuff, so I don't really need it for that purpose under my eyes, but I do like this for like blending out the concealer on my cheeks. It does a wonderful job. It really disperses the product, and because it is so dense, it really packs in the product as well. I have a lot of setting brushes. I have 3 of them in total. One of them is technically like an eyeshadow brush. This, I don't really know where it's from because I rubbed all the writing away. It's just a dual-ended one. On this side, the more fluffy side and more like long end, I guess, I use this as my setting brush for underneath my eyes because it's so small and it really just fits into like my under eye crevices very nicely. We'll talk about this in a little bit. I use this brush for those days where I only have concealer on and no foundation or anything, and since I have a lot of blemishes, I want like more surface area than this setting brush, so I use this one to set my cheeks with. And if I do wear foundation, I will use this to like at the end of my makeup process, where like if I still have like shine throughout my face, I use this to go to my T-zone and kind of tone down the shininess. This is the Real Techniques 402, the setting brush, and this is the e.l.f. Feather light highlighting brush. It's a very like sparse brush, and it's very tall lengthwise as well, so it's very like light on your face and it really disperses the powder very nicely. I don't use this for highlighting purposes, more like powder just actually all over my face for those days where I do wear foundation. For eyeshadow, I have also quite a lot of like brushes that I use, like 4 and 5 in total. I will go with this one first. I also don't know which one this is. I know it's like the Tetris collection from Ipsy, but I don't remember like the actual name or something like that because the writing again rubbed away. This is just like a typical brush that anyone would have. It's not very domed, it's kind of flat, and I use this for like applying eyeshadow all over my lid, just like the first step of my eyeshadow basically, and I can basically pinch it and just drag it along my lower lash line. And this brush has probably been with me since middle school and still going strong. And then the next one is this brush. Is also from e.l.f. This is the Blending Eye Brush. It's kind of very dense and short, so it's really good for like packing. I know this is not really technically for packing, but I use it still for packing. On eyeshadow, I use this for like kind of the more deeper eyeshadows I don't want all over my eyes. I use this for like deep browns, maybe even blacks, and I just use this for closely on like my eyelid and not. Let's talk about this end now. This end is sort of similar to this, but just more narrow and even more, I mean, slightly less packed, bristle-wise, I guess. But I use this because of its shape and how it's so thin. I use this to drag color underneath my eyes, like the more deeper shade, because I like to use two tones on my under eyes to kind of match my top eyelid. I use this to pack in the more deeper shade on the the outer half of my eyes, and it's just very nice. It does its job very nicely. For all over kind of lower lash line, I use this Real Techniques 301 base shadow brush, and I use this for like the more all over lower lash line look, and to even drag into the crease with the residue of the product that's still left on the brush. It's kind of not as packed as like the previous two that I was talking about. If I want to do liner, like shadow liner and stuff like that, I use this e.l.f. Eyebrow Duo Brush, which is like, I use both sides to be honest. I know this says it's an eyebrow thing, but like, I mean, this is a good shade for eyeliner anyways. This was previously supposed to be brown, but it's kind of turned into a kind of gray color because I use like black shadow with this. And again, like I said before, I just use this for mainly just eyeshadow eyeliner. And the other end, the spoolie end, maybe I can use it to like brush out my eyebrow hairs or like to unclump my eyelashes. Very handy tool. This is the e.l.f. Smudge Brush. I don't really use this as much as I previously did, but I do use this to smudge out like liners if I want to do more of like a smoky liner, and to like sometimes even pack on color as a base before using like this brush, the more precise brush, to actually put on the liner. Now I kind of use this brush as like a highlighting brush for like the small spaces in my eyes, like underneath my eyebrows, since it has like that little point to it. It's very nice to like get a precise little eyebrow highlight. And I use this also for like the inner corners of my eyes, and again, because of the point, it's very nice to get in there. And also for highlighting like the bridge of my nose, and because the shape is very small, it like gives you like a very specific line down your nose, I guess, so it really makes your nose look snatched. And instead of like using your fingers where it's like, even my pinky finger, you see the size difference? It's just a very small brush, and I like it for highlighting purposes. This is the Real Techniques 207, the detailer brush. I don't really use this brush. I occasionally use it to, like, if I mess up like greatly on my eyeliner or something, I use concealer to kind of perfect it a little bit, but other than that, I don't really use this as much. And then for my cheek products, which I have two, and this is the Real Techniques 206 contour brush. It's a nice dome shaped, and because it's kind of small, it really fits into like the crevices of my cheeks because I do have a smaller face. I use this for bronzer. I don't really use contour. I know, like, what I see in this, a lot of people use like bigger brushes for bronzer, but I really do like to use my bronzer as more of like a bronzer contour kind of step, where like, again, my face is kind of small, so it really fits into like all the spaces in my cheeks, whereas like if I use like a brush, say like this big, like it really just takes up all of my face. So it's just more nice for like precise bronzer placement, I guess. And then this is my blush brush. This is the Luxie 1010 small contour brush. It's very flat, and the bristles on it are slightly very loose. So I just use this to kind of just put on my blush with. And it's a very nice shape to really hug, again, my cheeks because it's kind of small. And it does very well with cream products, which is the only like blush products I use, which are just creams and like liquids. So it's very nice, and this will work very well with powders as well. More on like the miscellaneous ones where it's a little bit more not brushes but still tools that I use are very nice. This is the e.l.f. sponge, total face sponge, I believe, and it's such a nice shape. It's the point and like slightly sloped one. It grows so much in water. It's like this big at the end. I blend foundation and concealer with like the pointy end so it really gets everywhere, and then with the flat bottom I use it to really blend in my cheek products because I do use creams and like stuff like that to really blend in like setting sprays, my cheek products, powders into my skin to make it more of like a flawless finish. I highly recommend this. And it's also inexpensive because it is e.l.f. It's probably like $6, I believe. This is the Tweezerman eyelash curler. It really does such a good job at curling your eyelashes. I understand the hype with these Tweezerman eyelash curlers so much. Like I have Asian eyelashes which have such a trouble like staying up already, and with these they really just help your eyelashes stay up, and I find that my eyelashes stay up longer with these ones than like any previous eyelash curlers I've ever used. And it's like the shape of it is also very nice for my Asian eyes because it is like very almond, and it has like very nice grips. I don't like the ones where it just automatically stays open because it's kind of harder to store. So these ones are not nicer, and I got these one for a little bit cheaper than you would at a typical drugstore. I got this on Amazon, so it's very nice and I highly recommend it because on Amazon these ones are a lot cheaper than like going to like Target or something and buying it. So I'll link like all of these brushes and like the sponge too down below in the description box like I always do. I like a more curated brush collection because I can use all my all my brushes, and none of them go unused. So it's just very nice to like have a more curated brush collection, and it also reminds you to wash your brushes more often because you are using them every single day or like every single time you use your makeup, so you are getting a lot of use from all your brushes. Yeah, and I just rather have like a more curated and higher quality brushes that I can use all the time rather than like a whole bunch of brushes that like just go unused and then just sit around my house or my like dorm where I just look at them every day and it's just like it just feels very cluttered to my life, I guess, in my opinion. So I just like all my brushes. I love them all. Mwah. And I guess that's it for the video. Alright guys, remember to like, subscribe, all of that shit. You know the drill, blah 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 blah. I love you guys. Goodbye.